Oh, good morning. Hi. Well, welcome to the Hippy Nurse. My name is Phyllis and I'm the Hippy Nurse, and forgive my appearance today. I just woke up. I didn't have anything planned for you, but I have my other channel that I've been doing content on since the beginning of the pandemic, where I've done a lot of mental health content. And I went back and saw a few of my old videos, and it's got some good material in there. And I also see how I've come a really long way with my delivery of it. Anyway, this week I've been really busy, and I haven't filmed or prepared anything for you for this week. So I regurgitated one of those old videos, and I edited it a little bit better to make it a little bit smoother for you, and I'll let you watch that. But before we get into that, what have I been doing that's been taking up so much of my time that I haven't been able to prepare a video this week? I kind of count myself as an artist. I mean, I did these chakra paintings here. Do you like those? I can sell prints of those if you like. Make them into merch. That's what I'll do. I got a merch idea. Yes. But what I've been doing is this beautiful table here. So I've been a little occupied with that, and it's going to have an epoxy finish, like the same clear finish that I put on top of my countertops to make it durable and less stainable. So yeah, my beautiful new table. Anyway, let's get into the old video that I just regurgitated that I salvaged from the basement of my old channel. All right, I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, getting into this video. In this video, I'm going to recap and expand on an article that I recently read by a trauma psychotherapist, Amanda Gregory. There's a deer in the woods, perhaps drinking out of a stream, and the deer sees a wolf. What does his body do? Well, first off, just like with any animal and with us, the adrenaline and the cortisol starts flooding the system, and the response system kicks in: fight, flight, freeze, and faint. And, of course, the deer most likely chooses flight and runs away from the wolf. But let's say that the wolf is fast and catches up to the deer, catches him. Well, then another response needs to kick in, and perhaps the deer freezes and falls limp. But somehow, while the wolf is dragging the deer to its den, let's say that the deer finds a way to escape, and then the deer is in flight mode again. All right, so once the deer is safely away from the wolf and the danger is past, what does his body do? Okay, well, we just ran away from that wolf and we need to find a way to calm down. Well, the deer's body will start violently shaking. Now, the first time that I've heard about this shaking response in response to trauma and, a traumatic event, I went searching for examples on YouTube, and I found a video of a polar bear. There are many videos that you can find on YouTube, and I saw one of a polar bear who had been chased by humans, tranquilized, and then when he woke up, he went through that shaking response, and it's quite amazing to see. And that's him healing himself. So what this does is, your body is still flooded with all those chemicals and all that energy because you need to have time. You need to be able to run at a moment's notice when danger appears. And because he's shaken all that out, he releases all that extra chemicals and all that extra energy so that his body doesn't store the trauma. And then he can go on about his day, go back to his stream and take another drink. Now, wild animals live extremely stressful lives, but they don't suffer PTSD the way us humans can, and I believe that shaking response may be one of the reasons why. You may also notice this in small children, young children. When they're scared, they climb into their mom's lap and they may start trembling. And that's because they're not conditioned yet. They haven't had that tool taken out of their toolbox. They're not worried about embarrassment. They're not worried about what other people think. They're not being told to calm down, at least not yet. They're not being given anti-anxiety medications. Humans are conditioned to suppress that natural shaking release, that natural tool that can help us ward off PTSD. And what happens when trauma is not released? When trauma is not released, it can be stored in the body in muscle memory. I made a video about feeling the feelings. So when you feel your feelings, you're expressing them and you're letting them release instead of pushing them down in. Well, the same is true with the trauma response with the shaking. You're releasing that tension with the shaking rather than suppressing it and letting it condense and go down inside in your muscle memory. Now, a traumatic event can be a single event like a car crash, but it can also be accumulated over time in chronic stressful conditions such as childhood trauma, abuse, neglectful conditions, food scarcity, chronically worrying about your bills and when the rent is going to be paid. These things can all add up and cause chronic stress. Now, the body does not see the difference between a wolf 50 feet away from you and the landlord needing that rent check. And the body reacts the same way with the cortisol and the sugar spikes and all that to get you in that state. Okay, so when trauma is not released from the body, if it's chronic, if the deer were, for example, were being constantly chased by that wolf, constantly being caught all day, all night, constantly escaping from the wolf, never having time to process this, he would likely die from apparent exhaustion because of that built-up trauma response in the body. When trauma is chronic, it builds up over time, our physical health is affected. The sympathetic nervous system is always on when we're constantly under stress. The sympathetic nervous system is what releases the cortisol, the adrenaline, the fight, flight, freeze, and faint system, and the blood sugars. Your glucose in your blood spikes in order to get you that energy that you need to run away. So your heart starts racing and your breath becomes shallow, fueling those muscles ready for action. And all this can cause some heart issues, some restricted breathing, diabetes, headaches, chronic pain, stomach and digestion issues, because that body is always ready for that next stressor with no time to relax. No time to drop into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where our bodies are designed to be most of the time. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system is rest and digest mode. We're meant to rest and digest and enjoy life and be able to have that response for times of stress on the rare occasion that we need it. We're not meant to live in that state of stress. What can we do about all this? There is a formal practice that has proven success called TRE, or Tension and Trauma Releasing Exercises. It is a method that was designed by Dr. David Berselli. And I'm going to leave you a link down below to traumaprevention.com. That is an official TRE website where you can see videos with examples on it, and you can search for a local TRE therapist that's near you. So what do you do if there isn't a therapist? Well, we are born with this trait to be able to do this for ourselves, and over time we are conditioned and it's removed from us. So it is a natural state to be able to do this. And you could practice shaking on your own. I would highly suggest consulting your therapist, mental health provider, medical doctor before practicing, because strong emotions may arise when you're doing this. And it is good to have someone on hand to help you through the process. Keeping all that in mind, a good place to start is to approach this playfully. You don't have to be triggered in the moment to play around with shaking. Maybe a more fun way for you to do this would be to put on some high energy music and dance and shake the different parts of your body as you're dancing. Or you could even imagine diving into a cool, refreshing pool for a swim, climbing out and shaking the excess water off because you forgot your towel. Those are just some fun suggestions introducing the concept of shaking. Okay, so you may notice in your body scan meditation that you're holding tension, perhaps in your jaw or your shoulders, for example. These may be areas of your body where you're holding a trauma. Now, keeping your own limitations in mind and listening to your body, you might want to try shaking out those areas. And like I said before, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, so please talk to your provider and listen to your own reason. Pay attention to your body, and please never push past what your own body and mind can handle. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you want to see some more basement dug up videos with some amazing content that might not be quite polished, that I'll try to work my editing magic on, let me know if that kind of thing, if you actually like it or not, down in the comments down below. What did you think of this one? And I love you guys so very much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Help me spread my channel out there. Consider subscribing down below if you want to. And I love you guys so very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Namaste.